Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I have a C-section that I'm going to be reviewing with you guys. I think what I'm going to start doing is just like pulling random cases and then reviewing them with you guys just to kind of get back into flow of my content creation. Today, I had a repeat C-section that I had coded. Another diagnosis code that we're going to be looking for is breech presentation, and the patient was 37 weeks. And we also need to know the outcome of the delivery. So I'm not going to share the actual op note because I didn't copy and paste it in here. So we're not going to be dissecting the op note like I do in some of my other videos, but I am going to show you how to look up these diagnoses and then how to look up your CPT code. So I'm going to show you guys my ICD-10 book and how we look in the alphabetic index and then confirm in the tabular list. And then I'm also going to review the CPT code using one of my CPT code books. This is the ICD-10 book that I will be using. It is by Optum. I will link it in the description box if you guys are interested. I usually like the spiral bind, but my employer's got us this kind. So either way, it's still the same book, but I usually do prefer the spiral bind. And honestly, my favorite ICD-10 book is by Decision Health, but we got Optum, so that's okay. Looking in the alphabetic index, I'm going to go to delivery, because remember we are coding a delivery, so let's go to that part of the alphabetic index, and we're going to be looking for the repeat C-section and also the breech presentation, which is like a mal position. So let's look up those terms. And here we are up at the top. You see it says delivery continued and then cesarean continued. And then you just want to go down to previous cesarean delivery. It didn't specify, or I didn't specify, the type of previous C-section. So you do see that there are specifics, either classical, isthmostial, low transverse scar, or mid transverse T incision. So, if the documentation specifies what type of scar the patient had from that previous C-section, you definitely want to choose the right code. But since I didn't write it down, we're going to go with 034219. And then over here, still underneath delivery, this is going to be complicated by, and then all the way in like the second grade or shadowed line, you see where it says malposition, malpresentation. You want to go down until you see without obstruction, and then breech, which is 032.1, and there's a check mark because you do want to make sure you verify in the tabular list the remaining characters that you're going to need for this ICD-10 code. So I wouldn't choose like the where it says C delivery complicated by obstruction, because the documentation really doesn't specify that there was an obstruction. It wasn't difficult to get the baby out or anything like that because of the breech presentation. So that's why I'm going with malposition, malpresentation without obstruction. So those are our two codes for now. We had the repeat C-section, which didn't specify the type of previous C-section. So that is the 034219. And then for our breech presentation, that is 032.1. And then we're going to jump to the back. So I do jump to the back of the book and show you guys that, but we should have looked at the rest of the diagnosis code, because for me, I don't like to flip back and forth from tabular list to index, back to tabular list, back to index. I like to look everything up in the index first, but I guess today I just went back and forth. So here we are at 032 for the maternal care for malpresentation of the fetus. So this one was the second one. And this pink box here is just telling you about the 7 characters. So you would either be using 0 through 9. Because this is a single gestation pregnancy, we're going to be using 0 for not applicable or unspecified. If this was a multiple gestation, baby A would be fetus 1, baby B would be fetus 2, baby C would be fetus 3, and so on and so forth. So here are some pictures of fetal malpresentations. And again, we have breech. We're going to go with O32.1 because it requires 7th characters. Hang on, let me kind of zoom in here. You guys can see that icon where it says 7th. We have to make sure we have 3 other characters after the 1, which is going to be an XX0. So for this, it's going to be 1XX0 for the breech presentation. Now we are going to go to the index again and look for the 37 weeks of gestation as well as the outcome of the delivery, which was a live-born. So let me flip back to the alphabetic index, and this is what I was talking about. Actually, no, not yet. I forgot. We didn't even look up the repeat C-section. So the repeat C-section was at 034 and then 0.219. So we see here 034.21. It says maternal care for scar from previous cesarean delivery. And then we're going to go down to 219 for unspecified type scar from previous C-section. So that is that one, and we have that one figured out, and we have that one. Now it's a terrible check mark, but we have those 2 verified, and they're good to go. So now we will look up the weeks of gestation as well as the outcome of the delivery. So here I am at pregnancy. So I didn't look underneath delivery. I'm not even sure if they have the weeks of gestation at the delivery section. I don't think they do, but for weeks of gestation, you will look up the term pregnancy, and then we will look for the weeks of gestation, which is right here. So I said she was 37 weeks, so Z3A.37 is our diagnosis code that we will have to look up. So I'm just going to write that here, and that Z is terrible, but it's Z3A37. And now let's look for the outcome of the delivery, which I thought would have been underneath of delivery, but it wasn't. So I had to go to outcome in order to find the code. And right over here is outcome of delivery. And then in that first grayed out column, you see where it says single. And then you go down one more to liveborn, Z37.0. So that is going to be our outcome of delivery code. And that's a better Z. I don't know why I do my Z's like that, but that is Z37.0. And then now we just go to the back of our book and make sure those diagnosis codes are correct. I know they don't need any other extra digits at the end, but you're just always supposed to verify your codes in the chapter. So you just have to get a habit of doing this. Now, do I do this while I'm coding? No. But if you are learning and you're new to coding, you definitely want to do this. But did I literally actually look up Z37 and Z337 when I coded it while I was working? No, because I know it was correct. Alrighty. So I did want to point out, do you guys see this icon on the far right? It says UPD, unacceptable primary diagnosis code. I just wanted to show you guys that Z37 or Z3A codes, so the weeks of gestation codes, should never be primary diagnosis codes, as well as the outcome of the delivery. You see that there on the right, that brown box that says UPD. That means you cannot have these codes as primary. So the way that we have them lined up here with repeat C-section, breech presentation, and then weeks of gestation and outcome of delivery at the bottom, that is correct. You don't want to have these Z codes first. So now I'm going to be switching over to our CPT code, and I'm going to be using this book. This is actually one of the books that I purchased myself when I was studying for the obstetrics and gynecology certification, and I absolutely love this book. I rarely use it now, but I just wanted to use it just because for the sake of the video. I do have another OBGYN coding book, which is right here, that my employer purchased for us last year, but I've showed you guys this book before. So in this video, we're just going to be looking up the code in this book just to give us something different to look at in a way, but they pretty much all have the same information. They're not going to be different as far as the description of the C-section. A C-section is a C-section. It's not like they're going in through a different route. They get the baby out of the uterus. So all the description information should be about the same, but you do get different things in this book than in the other one. Like more terminology I know is in this book. Also more things related to like, what is it, correct coding information and all that stuff with the national correct, it's like the NCCI and all that information in the back of the book. I don't think we get that much information in that Optum one than you do in this one. So the CPT code that we're going to be looking at is 59510, which is for the routine obstetrics care, including antepartum care, the C-section, and the postpartum care. So that means we are billing for the entire global package. We provided all the patients prenatal care, the delivery, and then when the patient comes back for the 6-week or 8-week checkup, follow-up, or postpartum, post-op, whichever, postpartum visit, we're going to see her for that too. So that is why we were billing global. And here is the description of the C-section. You guys know how you can zoom in on like pictures with your finger. You can also do that on videos as well. So I can't really zoom in completely, but you guys can zoom in with your fingers and then move throughout the note as you're trying to read it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. I think we went over everything, and I don't think I'm missing anything. The other delivery codes, like for 59514, let's say we didn't provide the antepartum care and we won't be providing the postpartum care. Let's say this patient was in another city or something like that, visiting family, and she ended up delivering early or something. That provider would bill for cesarean only, because that patient will most likely come back to her regular care doctors for that postpartum visit. So that's a scenario for cesarean delivery only, when you're only providing the cesarean delivery. And then there's also cesarean delivery including postpartum care, which would be an example. Let's say we didn't do any of her prenatal care, but we will see her for the postpartum care. So then I would bill that code. But because we are billing global, I'm going to go with 59510. So that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.